We're live.
Hi, it's us
Hey.
again. It's me and Shane. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm the MC for tonight, Joanne, and I'd like to introduce Dr. Shin as well. So he holds a PhD degree in physics in University of Cambridge, and he was he was also working in a research associate under Royal Society Fellow and Professor of Experimental Physics, Professor Russell. So yeah, Dr.
So
Shi, would you
need to get
want to
my
talk?
need to get my mentor right, Professor Russell Colburn. He was my professor at University of Cambridge. So he's the professor of experimental physics at University of Cambridge. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Shi, for having us in your busy schedule. So today is the webinar of how to choose the best UK university.
Mm.
Okay, so I
That is a
have a
very
few.
interesting question, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually a couple of questions that I've been wanting to ask you, and
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great opportunity for me to ask via this platform. So, uh, okay, Shin, I know that you are very intellectual and you have been studying a lot and you do really well in studies. That is the reason why we are having you here for this webinar. So I'd like to ask, like, what criteria do you look into when choosing the best UK university? Like, how do you know which university suits you?
Uh, Actually, um, there is for I think for everyone it's different, right? So it's very important to know what you want to get out of university. So that's very important. Like I give an example. Like some people is very academic, like I am, right? Like the whole reason why I want to study university is I want to go into academia. I want to be in a research lab. I want to get the forefront of research, and I think if that is your case, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. You go for those universities who are top ranked, but even then, you have to be a bit more careful, right? Top ranked universities are overall generally good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good in every single subject that they do. Overall, it is, but they are not necessarily means that it's good in every single subject, right? Even at Cambridge, there are subjects which they're not good at. Oxford, same thing. Imperial College, same thing, right? So, for example, in terms of engineering, right? Imperial College is very, very strong. And some other university, at University of Southampton, they're very, very strong in terms of electrical and electronics engineering as well. So most people will see at the ranking of University of Southampton, they think that yeah, they're not maybe maybe top 10 or sometimes out of top 10. But when it comes to engineering, they're very, very, very strong, right? So the first thing is you need to ask yourself what you want. You want to go academic, then you have to look for which schools that are very strong academically for your subject and also the overall academic reputation of it. But there are also other considerations. So, for example, if you are an athlete, you like to be in sports, University of Bath is a good choice. They have a lot of sports sciences there. Or a lot of people also think university is a good experience, right? Now, and when you talk about good experience, sometimes you don't get the best experience in Cambridge. Cambridge is not for everyone. Cambridge and Oxford is not for everyone, right? First of all, a lot of people would choose London because universities in London because it's a melting pot. You get to experience a lot of different kind of cultures, uh, and you get less stressful, right? When you go to Oxford and Cambridge, you get very stressed out. You literally, have less time to so-called play around compared to other universities. But again, this is very subjective, right? Like for people like us, I think like I still get to play quite a bit when I was at the university. But if you are the kind of person who is a free spirited person who really want to go overseas to experience different culture, especially into the arts kind of uh, subjects, humanities, you want to meet people of different backgrounds, then again that plays into the mind, right? The city, right? Just not just the academic reputation, but the city, the university it is in, right? The composition of international student in within that university. That is also very important, especially if you're considering going to the UK. That is a very good opportunity, because for those who are studying locally, even if you do Nottingham University in Malaysia branch, most of it is all local students, right? You don't get to expose foreign culture. Sometimes we do go foreign universities just not for the namesake of or Nottingham or foreign university, but it's also about the exposure to the foreign culture, uh, and that comes in the form of international students as well as the city the university is at. So there are a lot of factors. I've mentioned two here, it two or three there, but it all boils down to you have to think about what you really want for your university life, what you want to achieve out of the 4 years of university.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I think that money can't buy experience, money can't buy education. You are absolutely right. But then I think a lot of students, especially young students, they do not know what they want in life. Um, as a result, they wouldn't know what course or what university to choose. Unfortunately, it happens quite. Um, it is quite normal in our society right now. But I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of like personality tests and so whatever that someone can help in that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the next question I would like to ask is like, but why UK university? Like, there are so many university globally, but why UK?
So
I
yeah.
because I know Dr. Shin, with your results, education results, I'm sure that you will be accepted. As in, I remember you got scholarship for Cambridge Uni, right? I'm sure with your result you could get scholarship from many other university, but why UK?
That's a good question. I mean, for me, it's about the cultural affinity, right? I mean, I grew up reading. I need a lot of people there, reading Harry Potter, which is, by the way, based on life in Oxford and Cambridge, the collegiate life system. So there's a sense of excitement that you're going to this place, like. Then I also used to watch a lot of football, Premier League football. So actually, to your point earlier, right? Actually, for me, it's also the, you know, sorry, the the cultural affinity lah. I'm a more of a football person than a basketball person, right? If you're a basketball, baseball person, then you probably go to US already when it comes to cultural affinity. But that aside, I think UK has its advantages. When especially if you're coming from a Malaysian point of view, their education system is actually very similar uh, to ours, because we are a former colony of the UK, the British Empire, and we drive on the same side of the road. Surprisingly, a lot of things when you go there, you realize that you have a lot more in common compared that if you go to the likes of other countries. You will have no problem at all with the language, because we speak English, and they can understand our English perfectly well. Uh, uh, to be fair, I was also considering Japan because I was also heavily influenced by Japanese culture.
Anime.
I love the samurai culture. I watched a lot of anime as I grow up. So it was, for me, it was actually choosing between Japan and UK, right? And Japan, I've spent another year learning the language, which for me could be a bonus as well, right? Spending another year learning another foreign language. Again, it comes boils down to you whether you want to spend an additional year learning the Japanese language, or you want to go to a place where you're familiar with the language already. In the end, I choose UK, lah, right? Because the Pirates of the Caribbean, Harry Potter, all these things, I just associate myself with that a lot more. But that aside, I think UK also offer very, very good education, very, very good education. They have very top universities, and relatively affordable if you compare to other the likes of the UK universities. Now, if you do not get a scholarship, it is almost, I would say, impossible to go to those private universities in top private university in the US like Harvard and MIT. But I think Cambridge, it's still expensive without a scholarship, but it's still more manageable than the likes of MIT and Harvard or Caltech or Stanford. All right. And The other thing is that UK has a very is very close to Europe, and Europe is a very diverse. Uh, Again, I think speaking to me for a while, you realize a lot of my priorities revolves around diversity. Understanding different cultures, that comes very important in my life. And when you go to UK, especially during my time before Brexit, um, you get to just go down to, on a Saturday afternoon, you can just take the Eurostar, go down to Paris, have a cup of tea, travel around Netherlands, travel around Belgium, and the northern France area, which is fantastic for me. And in the UK universities, you get to have a lot of people from Spain, Italy, Portugal. So you get to learn a lot about different cultures, and for me that's a plus point. Even now with the Brexit in place, right, they are still quite close and you still can travel there. And for Malaysians, I think there's an added benefit in the sense that we have Schengen passport, which means that while now the British cannot travel freely from UK to the Europe continent, we Malaysians actually can do that, right? But obviously now is a bit of a lockdown due to the COVID lah. But assuming that pandemic situation is long gone, and we are back to normal again, these are all the advantages that I see that you get when you study in UK. Whereas if you study in US, it's one country. Yeah, they do say that US is such a big country. From one end to another end is different, but that difference is not as big as from Portugal to Italy, for example, or Italy to France and Germany, and yeah.
That's that's very that sounds really fun. So I assume that you have visited most of the Europe country while you studied.
I have visited almost. I've been there for 10 years. Worked there a couple of. Another good thing about UK is when I was working there, I get to travel all around Europe, because it's people just basically, the idea of EU was free movement of goods and people, right? With Brexit, I think now it's a bit much harder lah. I don't know what's the situation there right now, because when they've implemented Brexit, I've already left UK. But yeah, I've traveled most of Europe, and unfortunately, Asia. I've not traveled much in Asia.
I guess that's the plus point where you mentioned that you're able to work in UK. I think this is also a huge plus point for studying in UK as well. Earning pound versus earning yen, I guess most of the people would rather earn pound. Now, I think you did a really good choice.
I think pound and yen both also, when after converted to Malaysian ringgit, also quite okay one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even if graduated students who wants to come back to Malaysia, there are much more people like whether MNC or local big companies would want to hire them compared to local grad.
Yeah, that's correct. I think you brought up a very good point. A lot of Malaysian employers, they know UK universities very well compared to um, other universities around the world, right? Japanese universities, maybe the top few, Tokyo, Kyoto, Tohoku, right? Then after that, who knows, right? US, unless you're coming from those top few universities, right? US basically has thousands of universities. If you go to some of those tier two ones, they don't know. But in UK, even you go to those tier two one like uh, Newcastle University, they're still very reputable, and they're still they are still very recognizable in Malaysia.
All right. I have another question. Like, I know you did well academically, but anyhow, I don't think it was an easy journey for you to enter Cambridge. So, how did you get noticed by your preferred UK university? In your case, would be Cambridge. Is there any tips that you want to
Mm,
share? Like, I don't know what you wrote in your
so
thesis,
that
whatever.
that's a weird question, Joanne, because typically I don't get noticed by the university. We notice the universities.
Oh,
they Come on,
Yeah, I
the
know, definitely.
Cambridge cannot be bothered with. I mean, they have like thousands of thousands of students trying to
Applicants.
apply in there, right? Like they don't bother. But even if we don't talk about Oxbridge, we talk about other universities. That's the same case. The responsibility is on you to find the university that you're interested in and reach out to them, right? And I think this is where UK Education Garden can come in to help, and is very good at doing that. I mean, we have a lot of conversation with Melissa, which is our partner in UK, right? She's like voted like the best educator of the year award, and you can see why, right? Because she gets you. So let's say if you say you're interested in this, so let's say how through our conversation with Melissa, right? I see why she's so good. First of all, she conducts a lot of very good surveys to help you understand what's your career aspirations, what is your personal affinities, your skill sets, and help you to guide you to think about which are the university or subjects that you should consider. And then after that, when you as you apply to the university or express interest in the university, working with Melissa, we'll be able to get you to meet with those students there, professors there, and you can speak to them, and that's very important, right? We it what Melissa is doing with UK Education Garden, what we're doing with UK Education Garden here, which is very different from a lot of other. I see a lot of uh, education agent out there, is that we give you a chance to speak to those students there, professors there. And why is that very important? I give you a very good example, because a lot of people and a lot of parents go into this uh, thinking like, I should send my son to Imperial Oxbridge. But when your children or your son or daughter starts to speak with people from Cambridge and Oxford or Imperial College, I would admit that some people will feel like, we are very snobbish, right? Like, you know everything lah, like you damn smart lah, like, and or either that you can say that I cannot understand this, I really cannot follow you, and this is perfectly okay. And I just want to manage the expectation a bit. Like when I attend a lot of classes at Cambridge, right? The lecturer, because when I was studying in Malaysia as well, a lot of my friends complain that the lecturers in Malaysia do not teach. But when I go to Cambridge, what I realized is they teach even less. Professors at Cambridge, they teach even less because they don't have time for you. They are such famous scientists in the world. They have so many things to do. Teaching you is probably at the bottom of their list. They will come in one or two times in the whole semester. If you have any question, you better catch him that time. Now, so the question begs upon, like, is this the kind of person that you want to work? Is this kind of teacher lecturer that you want to work with, or you prefer those people that uh, will be able to guide you more closely on a more regular basis, right? So talking to the professors, talking to the students there will help you gauge that. And every university have their own flavor, have their own flavor. I enjoy going to, my classes at Cambridge, where people start to talk about very nerdy stuff. Our portion of my life looks a lot like the Big Bang Theory, right? Seriously, I'm not joking, because I study physics. So a lot of my daily life routine looks a lot like the Big Bang Theory. Now, if you look at the comedic series of the Big Bang Theory, you might think it's funny, lah, right? But imagine if you're in their life, would you find it funny or you find it boring? You might find it boring, lah. Then that's not the place for you, lah, right? It's okay, right? Choose someone which is more suitable for you. So it's not so much about people choosing us; it's about us choosing the universities, and we need to do our research properly, right?
Mm.
We can engage a consultant like us, where we have a lot of information about which universities are top ranking for your subjects. We can help you to gauge your skill sets. We know by listening to you with our experience, we know that which we can recommend some universities to you, and then we can connect you with the people working at the universities. And this all these things are very important in deciding your where you want to go, right? Which university you want to choose.
Yep. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, I have a last question for today. So I'd like to ask. I think you have actually answered this. Actually, my question is, which is more important, being enrolled in the top university or being enrolled in the preferred subject? I guess it's a
Mm.
mixture of both.
It's
Uh,
definitely No, actually, it's definitely the second one. Your choice of preference. Don't just go for ranking. Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, unless I mean, it's just like asking me like what kind of career you should choose, right? We always say choose your passion, but obviously your passion could be I want to earn a lot of money lah, right? So same thing. Like you want to choose which university, choose a university that really that fits into you. But if you're very academic, then yeah, go for those top ranking ones. But don't go for those top ranking ones for the sake of going without really knowing what you are signing up for. And I've seen students who have gone there 4 years of depression, regretted everything, wasted time, right? So don't go for that unless you think that this is there are definitely perks, right? Going to those top universities, you get recognized much more easily. But these kind of perks diminish pretty quickly over time, right? As you work for many years, it's your attitude, it's the things that you have experienced in life that will matter more. And so you have to choose a university and maximize that experience for you.
That's totally true. Just to share a little bit about my background, because I was in finance industry for almost a decade. Until then, I realized that maybe this is not for me. So I have decided to like switch my career from finance to enterprise. So choosing the right subject is very important, and how I wish that I knew UK education back then to help me, to assist me to to get to the right track at the very beginning. Yeah, and nowadays it comes with some tools that help to measure what fit best to you based on your characteristic and so on.
Aptitude
Ah,
test, psychology test, yeah.
yes,
I think
yes.
UK Education Garden also like booked with like uh, Morris B, which is a very reputable um, aptitude test, right? So this kind of diagnostic test where, and I think that's the first thing that we always do, right? When students come to us and say, "How can you help us?" First thing is we do diagnostics and try to understand what's your preferred subject, what you like. A lot of time this is often overlooked, right? It's because people often try to start choosing a university without thinking like what they want. They just say, "Can you tell me the best university, best ranking? Which one? Either that or which one is the easiest to go to? Which one that I just want to go to any university, right?" But without really thinking what you really like. And I just want to put a caveat out here. If you do not know what you like, that is also something that we would like to diagnose, right? Because there are some universities that offers, then you want to choose a university that offers a very broad range of subjects and allows you to change study subjects very easily, right? So even if your results, your diagnostic test result is that I still do not know what I want yet, that itself is also a result, right? But you have to know lah, right? You have to at least try to see uh, whether you have passion for anything or not. Mm.
That's a very good piece of advice, and it is already 8:20 now. So that's all I have for today. If unless Shin, you have anything else that you want to share.
No, I'm good.
Okay, for all viewers, audience, students, parents who wants to know more about what we have just mentioned, or you want to have a consultation session with Dr. Shin, please feel free to just comment at the bottom, and we will just reach out to you, or you can just go to our website. Our contact is there. Search for KL office. Our contact is there. Um, the services is all in the website. Yeah. So we are looking forward to hear from you as well. So I think that's all from us today. We will probably have another session in 2 or 4 weeks time.
So stay tuned. Yep.
Yep. So Merry Christmas in advance.
Oh,
I
yes,
hope
yes. Happy
everyone,
holidays.
yeah, happy holidays to everyone. And see you soon. Thank you. Good night. And take care,
Bye.
stay safe, especially for the students in the UK,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Cambridge. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.